Hey guys, wanted to film this quick video during my lunch break to answer a question that I've been getting a lot lately. It's in regards to the best joint supplements to take. These are the top 5 joint supplements that I recommend anybody over 30 years of age starts taking immediately. These are supplements I take, and you'll see that they have a long history of research that support the claims. So here you go, check them out. So joint pain is a nationwide epidemic in this country. According to the Arthritis Foundation, 1 out of every 3 people between the ages of 18 and 64 are in pain. That means that the next time you're standing in line at Starbucks, if there's 2 other people in line with you, or maybe 2 other people working behind the counter, one of you has joint pain. And there's a very good chance that you're looking to do something about it, to find a supplement or some sort of solution for it. Is that person you? Luckily, as technology gets better and doctors are able to find more effective supplements to deal with pain and stiffness, a lot of them don't require a prescription anymore or even a doctor's visit. The best part is, though, many of these alternatives are 100% natural remedies for joint pain. That means that they're completely safe, and the majority of them have medical evidence to support their pain relieving claims. So gone are the days when the only option for pain was, a prescription, joint medicine, or surgery. That's great news because the US government says it spends almost $5 billion every year to treat people with joint pain. And that number doesn't even include what people spend on their own on joint supplements and other alternative remedies. So it's no wonder that more and more people are taking matters into their own hands and looking for a solution to their pain. And every month, there's almost 30,000 searches for words like joint supplements, joint pain relief, best joint supplement, joint pain supplements, and vitamins for joints on Google. So there's people actively looking for a solution to this problem. Well, having said that, I've put a list together of my favorite clinically proven joint health supplements you should be taking if you're over 30, like me. I'm 41 and I take every one of these every day. Now, I know that 30 seems like it might be a little too young to be worried about joint pain, but let me tell you why it's such an important age. You see, at birth, your joints are chock full of some special molecules called glycosaminoglycans. To make things easier for everybody, I'm just going to call them glycans, okay? So these glycans are crucial components of cartilage and synovial fluid. They are especially important in fighting chronic joint pain and cartilage damage. Because of that, doctors at the University of Iowa say that the lower the number of these glycans in your joints, the more cartilage you're likely to lose and the more pain you'll feel. Unfortunately, doctors at the Cleveland Clinic, world-renowned, they've discovered that by the time you're 20, you only have 30% of the glycan molecules you were born with left. But the bad news doesn't end there. That's because as you get older, you keep losing them. Until by the time you're 70, you only have 7% of them left. This explains why joint pain gets worse every single year. The pain doesn't seem to get better with age. So I know you might be asking, well, since they're so important, can I refill them somehow? Well, the answer is yes. And in fact, 2 of my top 5 best supplements for joint pain do exactly that. Now, before I get into the list, let me tell you a little bit about the methodology of how I put this list together. So this list of supplements and their vitamins for joint health was carefully selected because each one serves a unique purpose that is hard to match. There's a lot of pain vitamins and supplements you could take, but based on the years of research I've done and combined with my own personal experience taking supplements for my own knee and back pain, there's nothing that works as well as these do for the price. Because it's important that you not only find supplements that are going to take away the pain, but you also want them to repair any damage, lubricate what's already there, and stop inflammation, which is the root of all joint pain. So here are my top 5 best joint pain supplements and the research to support why I recommend everyone start taking them ASAP. So number 1 on the list, the best of best joint pain supplements, is one I call the cartilage strengthener. It's methyl sulfonylmethane, MSM for short. And like the name implies, MSM really is the cartilage strengthener because of its extraordinary ability to keep cartilage strong and prevent the onset of arthritis. Yes, I know, its name is terrible. It's hard to pronounce. But don't let that stop you from incorporating it into your supplement regimen. You don't need a lot of it because a little goes a long way. And MSM is highly important and almost necessary to keep cartilage strong, to reduce joint pain, and to reduce the inflammation that causes joint pain. And here's why. A little over 1/3, about 34% of MSM is made up of sulfur. Sulfur is key in giving the collagen in joint cartilage its strong and flexible properties. So this helps your joints stay strong, loose, and flexible. In fact, there's a series of research, published research papers that I'm not going to delve too far into, but one, for example, in Canada, showed that sulfur deficiency leads to cartilage degeneration. And the same paper also found that the amount of sulfur in older cartilage is significantly lower. So just like glycans, the older you get, the less sulfur you'll have in your cartilage. But in addition to strengthening cartilage, because of its sulfur content, MSM also has high antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. It can increase the levels of various inflammation-fighting substances in your body. One of them is glutathione that you might have heard of before. It can also reduce key gatekeeper molecules that cause inflammations. A lot of things like cytokines and things like that. Unfortunately, you can't just find MSM in a lot of food naturally. You know, there is some available in things like fruits and apples and raspberries, and in corn, tomato, tea, coffee, beer, and milk. But you don't really need a lot of it because a little really does go a long way. In fact, a study by a college in Tucson, the Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine and Health Sciences, they found that after only 3 months of taking 6 grams of MSM daily, osteoarthritis patients improved their symptoms of pain and physical function. So they felt less pain and had more physical function. And, you know, there's a couple other interesting reports that researchers have published. For example, one was by the University of Memphis. They found that MSM significantly reduced the trigger that causes inflammation, and that a variety of health-specific outcomes are improved, including inflammation and joint pain. And it is this runaway inflammation that 99% of the time expresses itself as pain in your joints and literally destroys your joints. But the best part of MSM is something that researchers in India discovered was that when you combine MSM with some of the other supplements on my top 5, it provides a better and more rapid improvement in patients with osteoarthritis. So MSM, it's probably the supplement you never heard of, but it is a powerful anti-inflammatory, pain-reducing option, both alone and in combination with the rest of the supplements on my list. So next on my list is hyaluronic acid, HA. Call this the joint lubricator. It was first proposed internationally as an alternative to NSAIDs for joint pain a little over 70 years ago. Here in the US, it didn't really get FDA approval for use as an injection until the late 90s. And ever since, it has become a popular option. Researchers estimate that more than 36,000 people in this country get at least one injection every year. Unfortunately, though, HA injections have two downsides. One is they're only approved for use in your knee, so a doctor won't administer them to any other part of your body. And number two, they are very expensive. In fact, again, the Cleveland Clinic, their doctors say that each treatment injection costs anywhere between $300 and $750. And each treatment can require up to 3 injections every 4 months. So that's almost $7,000 per year per knee. But how exactly does HA work? Well, because HA is naturally found in your joints, in the synovial fluid, Dr. Michael Schaefer at the Cleveland Clinic says it acts like a cushion or a buffer against inflammatory cells in the joint. He also points out that when you supplement your body's natural HA, it could stimulate your joints to start producing more HA naturally. There are some doctors who also believe that HA reduces pain by coating the nerve endings in your joints. But here's why I personally take HA and recommend you do too. There's some researchers in England, doctors, that found that patients who took HA reported a significant difference in pain while walking. This was only after a few weeks of taking HA. Their findings were supported by researchers in Taiwan and by the College of Family Physicians of Canada. A little bit later, researchers in Japan confirmed what these 3 groups had discovered when in the study of the progression of joint pain and cartilage degeneration. They found that HA significantly inhibited cartilage degeneration, and HA showed a cartilage protective effect as well as a pain relieving effect. So it protected cartilage and it relieved pain. But even if the level of HA supplementation you get orally isn't as high as you'd get through one of those expensive injections, a snowball effect will occur. Over time, the HA will build up and it could really yield some huge benefits. Next on the list is one that I call the healing accelerator, glucosamine sulfate. And it earned its name because of a special set of molecules that I mentioned earlier, glycans, that it helps form. So it's these GS, glucosamine sulfate, is a precursor to glycans. And the fact that it's been around a long time, glucosamine sulfate, speaks volumes to its effectiveness. Chances are you're probably taking it already or know someone who does. But just in case you've never heard of GS or never really cared enough to find out, Let me tell you a little bit about how it works. GS is a substance that just naturally occurs in our body, and it can also be found in certain foods. Well, one of the roles of GS is to form into glycan molecules. These molecules then combine with some special cells called chondrocytes that you find only in healthy cartilage. This combination is then absorbed into the extracellular matrix in your joints. So the extracellular matrix is a series of molecules arranged in a pattern to form a wall. And this is what makes up the cartilage at the end of your joints. And glucosamine sulfate, GS, plays a critical role in protecting and repairing this cartilage. Unfortunately, it's not enough to just get loads of GS and call it a day. You see, in order for GS to be absorbed and turned into cartilage, you need a steady supply of chondrocytes, those healthy cells found only in healthy cartilage. And unfortunately, as you get older, you have less of them. Makes perfect sense, right? The reason you have less of them is because cells don't divide quite as frequently as they used to when you were younger. And as these chondrocytes naturally die off, it takes longer for another cell to replace it. So you can't just supplement with a bunch of GS if you don't have enough chondrocytes and expect it to protect your joints. You need both of them, or else it won't work. It's kind of like having cereal but no milk, Kool-Aid but no sugar. You need to have both of them to have that awesome combination. And remember, half of GS, glucosamine sulfate, is sulfate, which is sulfur. So just like MSM, the sulfur in GS helps cartilage stay strong and flexible. So now that you know how GS works, you'll be happy to learn that Georgetown University found that long-term GS supplementation could be a disease-modifying agent to osteoarthritis. Their study also showed that patients who took GS had no significant joint space loss, meaning they lost very little, if any, cartilage in their joints. Patients supplementing with GS also reported improvements in pain, stiffness, and functional limitations, so they were more mobile. And researchers in England found that compared to regular pain relievers like ibuprofen that actually do very little for the actual joints, glucosamine is effective in relieving joint pain associated with osteoarthritis. They even stressed that it could be due to its cartilage rebuilding properties, not seen with simple pain relievers, and they thought that this was a particular benefit to osteoarthritis patients. So this brings me to the fourth joint supplement I recommend. It's the Healing Catalyst chondroitin sulfate, CS. It too is one of the most popular and widely used supplements. Like GS, there's a very high likelihood you or someone you know is already taking it. And even though it is a great standalone ingredient, the real power of GS comes when it's combined with other supplements like glucosamine sulfate and methylsulfonylmethane. And that's the primary reason why a lot of supplement manufacturers include it in their formulations. But how exactly does CS work, and why does it work so well when combined with other ingredients? Well, it works so well because CS is a compound found naturally in all human cartilage and bone. Scientists have established that it's one of their ground substances, so it's a building block, a foundation. And just like GS, chondroitin sulfate combines with chondrocytes in cartilage to help the glycan molecules be absorbed into the extracellular matrix in your cartilage. So this chondrocyte combination also helps keep the synovial fluid in your joints nice and thick, so it can provide more cushioning for your joints. But the number one reason why CS works the way it does, and it works so well when it's combined with other joint health supplements, is actually because of its sulfate component. Yes, just like MSM and GS, CS is also made up of sulfur. It's the sulfur that keeps cartilage, that helps cartilage stay strong and flexible. So when you combine CS with other sulfur-carrying ingredients, it's like getting a double or triple dose for your cartilage. And there's a lot of incredible results that doctors and researchers have been able to find as they continue to learn more about CS. For example, joint research by doctors in Switzerland and in Chicago found that CS significantly reduced pain and increased overall mobile capacity in patients with arthritis. They also said that CS could preserve joint space and control joint breakdown. So that's key if you want to minimize pain. And then there was researchers, doctors at the University of Maryland School of Medicine that agreed with what researchers in Chicago and Switzerland had found, and they went on to say that CS is effective for reducing the rate of joint space deterioration, and they went on to recommend that CS be used by arthritis patients. So that's pretty high praise for chondroitin sulfate. And an important aspect of how CS works is that it reduces inflammation that destroys cartilage in the first place. And so Canadian researchers found that not only does CS prevent joint space narrowing, just like the other researchers did, but it does it by reducing joint swelling, thanks to its anti-inflammatory effect. And it's this anti-inflammatory effect that helps it preserve joint space. So CS has many well-documented beneficial joint health properties, especially when you combine it with ingredients like GS. And a really interesting study by government researchers here in the United States found that the CS-GS combo was as effective for arthritis as Celebrex, but without the $223 price tag. So, again, very high praise for chondroitin sulfate. The final of the supplements I recommend for joint pain relief is the inflammation fighter. These are omega-3 fatty acids. If the name sounds familiar to you, it's probably because you've heard it called by its more common name, or as it's referred to sometimes, fish oil. So it should come as little surprise to you that the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, says it's the most commonly used supplement in the country, period. Well, there's good reason for that. The fish oil works by controlling and reducing inflammation in the body. And like we've already learned, inflammation is a big threat to our joints. So the role of omega-3s is huge, and doctors at the best medical schools in the world agree. I mean, Harvard Medical School found that when you take omega-3s, they convert into compounds 10,000 times more powerful than original fatty acids. Dr. Charles Serhan there at Harvard says these new compounds are what help bring inflammation in the body to an end. And then Canadian researchers also found that omega-3s reduce joint pain intensity, reduce morning stiffness, reduce the number of painful and or tender joints, and they reduce NSAID consumption. So that's phenomenal. But additionally, doctors in England say there's evidence that omega-3s are clinically effective when used to soothe arthritis inflammation in the body. They say that the evidence they found is reasonably strong. And so the American College of Rheumatology even suggests that daily supplementation with omega-3s result in significant clinical benefit. So knowing all this, it's no wonder that omega-3s is number one in this country. And doctors from all over the world are hailing its praises for its ability to eliminate inflammation and end joint pain in the process. So that puts us through the 5 supplements that I recommend. But there are a few things to consider. Like I said, those are the 5 that I personally take and recommend to people. And as you can see, each one has proven pain eliminating capabilities. But the real power comes when they are combined, when they are used in combination. This creates a type of overloading effect that delivers pain relief much faster than if you were to take them individually. 2 words of caution though. 1, I used the word fast a minute ago. However, I don't want you to confuse it for overnight. Because if that's what you're looking for, a magic pill, then I'm afraid none of these supplements are it. In fact, I don't think there's anything available on the market that will provide true, long-lasting relief beyond just a few hours of numbing the pain, of masking it. So please don't make that mistake or let that deter you from giving them a real chance to work. Like I tell people all the time, you didn't destroy your joints overnight. In most cases, it took a lifetime. So to think anything will really fix them overnight is naive at best and reckless at worst. The second thing you want to consider is you have to be prepared to spend a significant amount of money on these supplements, on all 5. Like I said, each one will provide pain relief over time, but if you want to leapfrog months of waiting, then you need to take all of them together. Unfortunately, you'll be spending more than you might want every month on them, depending on where you shop. It's just like with cars, right? You have to pay if you want speed. In fact, I went out and bought all of these supplements at a local supplement store that has franchises all over the country. I spent a little over $100 for a 30-day supply. And that's buying house brands where I could. So I was saving anywhere from $10 to $30 on my overall bill. So yeah, it gets expensive. But of course, as with anything in life, you always have options, right? Number 1, you could choose to not take all 5 of the supplements at one time. It might be more than just for financial reasons that you decide to do just one at a time. It could be that you don't really want to take 5 to 10 extra pills every day on top of what you might already be taking. I sure don't. I get it. I wouldn't do that. Number 2 is you could find all or some of the same nutrients that you find in each of these supplements in their food form. After all, if you can get it naturally and skip taking the supplement, it's always recommended. But the downside is that you might need a lot of the raw source material to get the same level of supplementation that you would from a pill or a capsule. This means that you could be spending quite a bit more on the food than if you were to just go the supplement route. And number 3, the last thing, which is what I do, instead of buying each individual supplement, you could buy one that delivers all 5 of them. The only bad thing about this is I'm almost 100% certain you won't be able to walk into your local GNC or Whole Foods and buy it. That's why my company created it a few months ago, because I wanted all these ingredients and I didn't want to pay over $100 to get them. Our product is called Zindalor, and it gives you high quality doses of all 5 ingredients in 2 easy to swallow pills, all for as little as $1.33 per day. The best part is, when you buy Zindalor, you're covered by our 90-day bottom of the bottle guarantee that you won't get anywhere else. If you want to learn more about how you can get the 5 best joint supplements for pain relief in one bottle of Zindalor, just click the link below. And to sum up, the ideal joint pain supplement, regardless of whether it's for knee pain, shoulder pain, or hand pain, must perform 3 very specific tasks for it to be a viable long-term solution. 1. It must have a mechanism for dealing with inflammation, or else your joints will continue to degrade, which means more pain. 2. It must lubricate your joints so they move smoothly and without friction. And number 3, it must be more than just a numbing agent. It has to be able to repair and rebuild worn out cartilage, or else you'll never move beyond square one. So there's a lot of very good joint pain supplement alternatives available on the market. So many, in fact, that it can be overwhelming. I know. I was there once too. Overwhelmed by the options, had decision paralysis. But I hope that I've shed a little light on the topic and giving you the tools to make an informed decision. I wish you good health.